Hello, my lovely. This is Life Issue and this is Blessing. For everyone that have subscribed, I want to say thank you. If you've not subscribed, please subscribe because you need to be getting hot gist as is landing and you need to be on top of your African news. Now, I couldn't go to bed without dropping this news, okay? It's a hot one. I didn't know about it. Somebody just sent it to me. It's about Orulemi Adeleye, who is a professional nanny in the USA that has just been sentenced to 15 years imprisonment for force feeding a child. Now, what is force feeding? Now, in the Western world, when your child refuses to eat, you're not supposed to force the child to eat. It's an abuse. Okay, I know in African community it happens. Your child is not hungry, or you feel that your child they've not eaten enough, and you're forcing them to eat, putting the food in their mouth, beating them to eat. Really is an abuse. That's the way it is. Because if a child is hungry, they will eat. I know it sounds strange to African parents because when my mom was here and I was trying to explain to her, just leave him if it's not, they don't get it. They don't get the fact that children actually will eat when they want to eat. That if they're very hungry, they will eat. We're not brought up that way. Now, this nanny left Africa with that mentality that we have back home. Now she was looking after somebody else's child and the baby refused to eat and she forced the food on the child. Well, I'm not going to call it a child because it's a baby. And she drowned the baby. Okay, this is what I keep telling people. When you leave the shores of Africa, please leave your African mentality. Leave everything that you've been taught in Africa and move on. Okay? The way things are done in the Western world is not the way it's done in Africa. The way children are brought up in the Western world is not the way they are brought up in Africa. Every day we hear of children that have been taken from their parents by social services because African parents refuse to understand these simple facts. Why will you force a child to eat? Why will you even beat a child to eat? Simple psychology shows that when a child is very, very hungry, they will cry for food. They will want to eat. Now, you as a parent, you kind of like have an idea of the amount of food you want your child to eat. But what if this child is not hungry? Why are you beating your child to eat? Why are you forcing them to eat? Why are you insisting that they must finish that particular plate of food that in your mind they have to eat? And this is where we get it wrong in Africa. This is where we get it wrong. And then we carry that mentality to the Western world and we get into trouble. Now, this nanny was looking after somebody else's child. She should have just let go. And then when the parents come back, she will tell them that the child refused to eat. But forcing the child, opening his mouth, pouring the food down his throat, it is an abuse, parents. It is an abuse. Okay, Nigerian family, Nigerian parents, you need to understand that it is an abuse. This woman has just packed 15 years. Total sentences were 40. But she cannot get parole until she has spent 15 years imprisonment. All because she did not let go of her African mentality, the way she was brought up. I keep hearing people say, that's the way we do it in Africa. That's the way I was brought up. That is the normal way. And I'm like, okay, that is the way you do it. But where are you living? You're not living in Africa. So you cannot carry your parental method or the way children are brought up in Africa to a white man's land. It's not going to work. The society is built in such a way that you will be convicted, you will get into trouble. You will lose your child if you don't abide by the law of the country where you live in. All right, I just want to put this video out, or this topic out. I mean, there's really no video, and it's just something that just happened in America. And I just want to ask parents out there, why do we force our children to eat when they are not hungry? Do we actually think that if a child is hungry, they will not eat? If a child is hungry, they will eat. So why do we force them? Why do we beat them to eat? Why do we put a particular ration of food and we expect them to finish eating that food? And if they don't, we start beating them. I know how many beatings I got from my parents because I didn't want to eat, or maybe because I didn't finish the food, and then they'll say, you don't waste any food, you cannot waste. I mean, come on, I don't want to eat. I'm not hungry. Don't force a child to eat if they don't want to eat. Think about your child first, okay? All right, so as a parent, have you done this? Have you ever forced your child to eat? Has it ever occurred to you that that is an abuse? Have it ever occurred to you that you are actually maltreating your own child? I know in Africa we call it training, but really it's not training, it's an abuse. All right, so I'm going to drop this here. If you want to read more about this story, you need to go to my news online and website, which is still called Life Issue Magazine or Life Issue Blog, and you will read all about it. Well, thank you. I'm just going to go to bed now. It is actually 2 o'clock in the night, and I still have to wake up by 6 to go to work. Please help me subscribe. Please help me like. And tomorrow I'll be coming your way with another hot story. Bye bye. Take care.